Why are there two different I Heard It Through the Grapevine songs that went number one in 1968? Dueling versions of similar songs has been going on ever since people discovered you could make money by making and selling music. In the 1950s, it was common practice for white artists to see popular songs on the black charts, then make their own version of the same song using the exact same lyrics and music. It was an easy way for their labels to make untold amounts of money with minimal effort. The songs had already proven to be popular, so all that had to be done was to mimic them. While the quality wasn't as good, the sales were as good or even better than the original versions of the song. Pat Boone was a primary instigator of this practice, as he became rich and famous by giving a white treatment to famous songs recorded by black artists like Little Richard with Tutti Frutti and Long Tall Sally, as well as Fats Domino's Ain't That a Shame. In more recent times, in mid-1989, Chill Rob G released the song The Power. Later that same year, Snap recorded their version of the song The Power. Along with having the exact same title, these songs also shared basically the same beat. However, the lyrics were completely different. In March of 1993, rap group 95 South released the song Woot There It Is. 2 months later, rap group Tag Team released a similarly titled Whoop There It Is. Other than the titles, though, the songs were not similar. Now, having set the stage, let's go back in time to 1968. At that time, Marvin Gaye was one of the biggest acts in R&B. Not only was he a successful solo artist with hits like How Sweet It Is to Be Loved by You, Ain't That Peculiar, and Pride and Joy, he also formed a successful duet with Tammy Terrell. In 1968, the duo had 2 songs reach number 1 on the R&B charts. At the same time in 1968, Gladys Knight and the Pips were successful in their own right. They'd already had the number 1 song with Every Beat of My Heart, as well as a song that made it to number 3 titled Letter Full of Tears. Marvin Gaye recorded his version of I Heard It Through the Grapevine over several sessions in early 1967. Among the things that slowed production of the song was that producer Norman Whitfield, who also co-wrote the song with Barrett Strong, wanted Gaye to sing the song in a higher key than his normal range. Whitfield wanted this because he felt it would bring more emotion to the song. This led to an argument between the two men, but ultimately Whitfield got the performance he wanted. At the same time, Whitfield also was busy overdubbing Gaye's vocals with the Adante's background vocals, mixing in tracks from the Funk Brothers, and adding a symphonic arrangement from Paul Reiser. A lot of work went into the song, but eventually it was completed. Whitfield felt good about the finished product. The song received the necessary approval from Motown's Quality Control Department, and the last step before the song could be released was to receive the green light from Berry Gordy. Gordy didn't give it because he didn't like the song. Gordy blocked the release of the song. He didn't feel like it was a hit, so the song was shelved. Undeterred, Whitfield was confident that he had a good song. He turned his attention to crafting a hit with Gladys Knight and the Pips instead. About 2 months later, with a completely different arrangement that he wanted to be funkier than the one that he did with Gaye, Whitfield put together a new version of Grapevine that he was certain would work this time. He was right. Even though Gordy was reluctant in agreeing to release the song, the Gladys Knight and the Pips version of I Heard It Through the Grapevine was released on September 28, 1967. A little over 2 months later, the single was the number 1 R&B song in the country and would be Motown's biggest selling single ever for a short time. On August 21, 1968, Marvin Gaye released his album In the Groove. His version of Grapevine was included on that album, nearly a full year after the Gladys Knight and the Pips release. Even after it was released, there still was no intention of the song being released as a single. However, radio DJs started playing Grapevine as a single directly off the album. As a result, the song became a hit with listeners, and they began calling in to request the song in droves. At that point, Gordy loved money more than he loved being right. As a businessman, he had no choice but to release the song as a single. On October 30th, 1968, the song finally was released as a single. And the rest is history. as Marvin's version would finish 1968 as the #1 R&B song in the country. It also went on to be the biggest selling Motown single at that time, making Gladys' status as being #1 short-lived. For the first of our special side notes, Marvin Gaye's version of I Heard It Through the Grapevine was the second to be recorded, but the third to be released. The Miracles, featuring Smokey Robinson, were the first to record the song. However, Berry Gordy wasn't interested in the song, saying that it wasn't strong enough to be released as a single. He felt it needed more work. Where have we heard that before? As a second side note, I Heard It Through the Grapevine actually made it to the top of the R&B charts for a third time. A little over a decade later, in 1981, Roger Troutman of Zapp fame completely reworked the song, and he rode his version of Grapevine to #1. As a final testimony to the greatness of this song, both Marvin's and Gladys' versions eventually were inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame. So there you have it. The reason why two songs with the same title and the same lyrics, with subtle changes due to the singer's different genders, each went to #1 in the same year. We hope you like this dive into the background of the song that almost wasn't I Heard It Through the Grapevine. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and be sure to come back and check out more videos.